Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max's Models here. I got started on that Repop Monogram Constellation, the Super G. And, of course, this is Max's 12-year-old build. Nothing I wouldn't have had when I was 12 years old. So, an X-Acto knife, a little sandpaper, some black paint, a magic marker, and we're off to the races. Okay, I did use some mark fit and all the set, but we'll get there in a second. So I decided to go ahead and build this the way it was built in the instruction sheet, the way it said to do it. So that meant putting the decals on before putting the fuselage halves together. And I went ahead and just tack glued the doors in place so that I could get the decal stripes on straight. And unfortunately, these 24, 25-year-old decals gotten pretty brittle. And although I was able to get some of them on without too much argument, some of them started breaking and coming apart on me pretty badly. But a lot more of an issue with the decals than I had really expected. I've dealt with decals that were older that didn't give me as much trouble. But there you have it. And we'll see how it goes when we're done. But one or two of them got pretty badly mangled. I still have a few more of them to go, but I am glad that I went ahead and started decaling it while it was in halves because it was easier to lay it down like that and lay the decals on. So I go ahead and start working on the wings, and all the parts fit like you would expect from a vintage kit like that or a remake of a vintage kit. You know, no real arguments, a little flash. Fits were okay. No real qualms there. Did use a little of the Tamiya accent line to do the engines and, you know, give a little character to it. Used magic marker like I would have when I was a kid to do some of the trim and the de-icing boots, and then of course went over them with black paint. But it's okay. It's starting to look just like it would if I'd made it when I was 12 years old, because it's, except for the snips and the decal set and of course the Tamiya thin glue, everything else is pretty much the way I'm doing it. You know, scraping away with an X-Acto knife, and that's pretty much what you see is what you get. I have no complaints about the kit. It's actually kind of cool in a lot of ways. Comes with little extra features like the air stairs and stuff. And I wanted to make it where it'll sit on its nose so I can use the air stairs and a little tow cart, a little tug that's supposed to tow them along. So I need to get a lead weight to put in there. I've probably got an old Bullet 45 or 44 laying around here somewhere that ought to do the trick. And it did take a lot of clamping to hold the wings in place, but again, exactly the same thing you would have expected. Nothing out of the ordinary. And while that was all hardening, I decided to go do a little work on the Arizona. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to be gone to work for a while, so I need to get the paints and everything. Go ahead and order them. I went up to Hurricane Hobbies. They did have some paints. Everything I grabbed was wrong. I did a test shot with the Tamiya's sea blue, and it just wasn't even close, as you can tell. And it wasn't the recommended paint, but it looked like it might have a chance. It did not. That's what I get for eyeballing it. So I went ahead and ordered the Vallejo 898. It'll be here in a week or so, and I won't be ready to paint before then. I did get the CA glue, the quick drying and the slower drying stuff, so I can get to work on the photo etch. And then, of course, I'll cover that all with Mr. Surfacer and then hit it with the paints when they show up. I want to be able to, of course, pre-paint as much as I can, like the tripod masks and things, before they go onto the model permanently for obvious reasons. And also, Tamiya actually recommended this Hull Red, which Hurricane Hobbies did have. But when I read the forums, a lot of people said that's really the wrong color for an American ship. That's really more for like a Yamato, a Japanese ship. It would be perfect. So it does look a little dark, so I think I'm going to probably go ahead and get a brighter red to put on there. So, but we'll just see. I'm sure I'll use a brighter red than that stuff. That's almost a brown. So after I was done tinkering with the paints and figuring out what I was going to do with the Arizona, I came back, started looking at the Constellation, realized, holy moly, these decals are flaking off in my hands. They were starting. They not only did some of them come apart when I put them on, but they're actually coming off the airplane. They've had plenty of time for the Mark Fit to do its job. So I took them back out to the Tarbis and used a fairly heavy coat of that Tamiya decal set solution that I have, and I'm going to give that overnight to do its thing. And when it's done doing its thing, provided they don't just flake off on me, then I am going to put a very heavy coat of floor wax, future floor wax on it to hold them down, because I don't think regular clear coat will be enough. And I know there are some ways to use some kinds of glues, like white glues and stuff, and that's a real dodgy thing, and they're more likely to come apart if you try. So we'll see how it goes. If they do flake off, I have plan B, because as you know, TWA sold its constellations after operating them for just a few years to second tier carriers who did not always take great care of them. So there's potential to do that kind of build. So that's where we're at with that, and still got the live stream going on Saturday night. Got a lot of stuff to cover, most of it models, but some of it will veer off into aviation and ships and a few other things that I've been learning. It's amazing what you learn when you start digging into a model. We all know that models tend to be history lessons. How many of us learned about cars, tanks, planes from the stuff we read on the instruction sheets? And I know some of you guys have encyclopedic knowledges of cars. I'm still amazed. And but you also learn other things about the kits, because there's much you hear about a kit and nothing like building it. Well, this one I noticed this weird little thing. The airplane on the box and in the instruction sheet, and even on the cover of Craig Kadera's excellent book on collecting model kits with his magnificent buildup of this same kit, it says the United States under the pilot's window, but this one's the Star Windsor, the Windsor Star. But I was like, somebody actually came up with a different name for a different plane for these decals. So, I'm sure there's a little story in there somewhere that we'll never know. Anyway, just one of those cool little trivia bits. Well, guys, take care of yourselves. I hope you're doing well. Hope to see you at the live stream. And as always, model on.